Hey folks, joining the Linux Survival. So to complete our little trinity of the three big tools in bushcraft, a knife, an axe, and a saw, we're going to finish up with the saw here, doing 10 different tips on what to do with the saw while bushcrafting. Stick around. Alright folks, so let's decipher this first. So if it's the warmer months out, right, so spring, summertime, early fall, something like that, where I'm not cutting a lot of firewood to keep warm all night, a simple little folding saw like this, 7-inch blade, would work just fine. No problem there. However, as it gets colder outside and you have to have more firewood to burn all night to keep yourself warm all night, I want to opt for my bigger saw that I like to carry around with me, and this is a 24-inch crosscut saw I got from my local hardware store. So keep that in mind, guys. You don't have to keep it fancy-dancy, just keep it simple and practical. Good to go, guys. So anyways, let's continue on with the cutting. Alright, so say we cut down a branch off a tree. Nice dead branch. We're going to cut this up to kindling, whatnot. What you want to do is the plumber's advice. It is very simple. Take your dominant hand leg, so in this case my right leg, come across it like so, kneel down, square it up. What's going to happen is your back leg here is going to help brace it along with this vice grip you're creating with your dominant leg. That way you're not sawing in the triangle of death. That's a huge no-no, but saw blade's out here on the outside of your leg. Quick, efficient, easy way to saw a branch to whatever length you need. It does have its drawbacks, because when this does get shorter, we're going to have to switch to something else in order to cut this efficiently. Alright folks, so the next tip and trick here, it does work way better with the bow saw. I don't have a bow saw personally, I just have this crosscut saw. What we want to do though, if our crosscut saw does have a hole in the blade like this does, or a bow saw, you can fit a sturdy stick at the end of it, or through the hole in my case, and you can actually sit there and have a brace for your feet to help hold the blade in place. Now you can either use PVC or flex pipe, something like that, as a sheath for your saw, or just another large stick to help brace the handle. So I'm going to step on that stick down there, brace it right here, take our stick, move the stick on the saw like so. The advantage is I can cut really small pieces like this down to whatever size I want for whatever reason. Relatively comfortable. Yeah, back issues I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, I can see it works out great. So keep that in mind. Alright folks, so if we don't have a knife to help us make notches, it's okay. We can always use our saw to do such a thing. All you want to do is cut relief cuts in one end of the stick or knot. Make sure there's no knots or anything like that. But how far down you go, just like using a knife, say about a quarter of the way or so, depending on how deep you need the notch to be. That really honestly is the deciding factor. Make sure they're all pretty uniform and as close together as you can, because the closer they are, the easier it is. Okay. So the first one here is going to be a little rough. What you want to do is take the base of your saw blade by the hinge here, work that back into the cut itself, a little twist. That should pop out like so. And those actually came loose already. Take your saw, be very careful if you're going this way, obviously. And you just want to clean it up like so. That's what you do to remove the bulk out there. Make it even more square. So if you had something like this, obviously it's not deep enough, but you guys can see how effective that is in making square notches. Alright folks, so say you want to make a saddle notch in this for whatever reason, whether you're building a, say, log cabin of some kind, it's just scaled up, you're trying to set the logs on top of each other, or you're trying to make a raft, window, whatever it's going to be, right? So to make a saddle notch is pretty easy. So what you want to do, start with a shallow cut on one end, And just like the relief cuts before, keep them close because it's easier. Go a little deeper each one to the middle. It's going to be the deepest on out. So like before, what we're going to do is sit here and just pop these out like so. Give them a little twistaroo. The hinge joint. All right, folks, so like I said, we're going to use a pole saw next. So if you're in an area where there's really tall pine trees and all the dead branches have already fallen off, or if you're in an area where you already stripped the resources, kind of like mine is right now, if you guys take a look around my campsite here, you can see that I used a lot of the dead branches on these pine trees. Not all of them, but for purpose sake, let's say that we need a pole saw in this situation, right? So obviously we got our folding saw, we have a pole, obviously just some dead tree that I found, cut that down to whatever size I want. I'm going to use more of the bottom end here, guys, because it contains more of the weight, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Anyways, you want to sit there, measure the diameter of the pole itself along with the saw so you can cut the actual correct amount of cordage. Kind of line up where you want it at least have a rough estimate. And you're going to make some kind of cinching knot with your cordage. I'm going to go with a Canadian jam knot. Super easy. So you just make a stop knot with a tail. Up here, you're just going to simply make a little overhand knot to make a snare of sorts, like so. Take this, be careful not to cut yourself. Take the tail end through the loop, close the loop up, is what I find easiest to do. And we're just going to cinch it down nice and tight. As you guys can see, that should sit there, and obviously we're not going to just use one, we can use two, we can use three. However many you want and how much cordage you have, that's kind of up to you. I mean, you can simply wrap this and tie the ends. The possibilities are endless with this, but that's what I like to do. So I'm going to make this, guys, and we're going to go cut some branches down. All right, folks, so if we're out here bucking logs, yes, bucking, not the other word that starts with F. You're weird if you think that. But anyways, if we're out here bucking logs, what we're going to do is try to find a Y branch and another little branch for a tripod, or you can simply find a crotch in a tree, like so. This is going to help you actually sit here and cut logs to length that you need and or want, again, for your campfire, whatever you're trying to do, build something like that. And this is definitely going to work for me because it is a comfortable height off the ground. All right, so like so. So now what it's going to do is use its own weight. Let the saw do the work for you. That's why you need sharp tools. Now, that works well. And that is a approximate 3.5, 4-inch diameter log. All right, folks, so say that we don't have the time, the caloric energy, hydration, whatever it's going to be, right, to wander back and forth to a perfect tree with a nice V groove in it, or we don't find a bunch of Y sticks that we can use, so on and so forth. The next best option in my mind would be to make 2 tripods, obviously 3 straight sticks of some kind, wrapped and frapped. Here you go. Now you can make your own mobile, portable sawhorses out here in the woods. So instead of walking back and forth, wasting time and energy, You can simply buck saws right at base camp, get the rounds, and quarter them up. Pretty nice. Alright folks, so if we can't find a nice crotch in a tree, a V tree, whatever you want to call it, we always try to find a wide branch. Now granted, this is a pretty big pine branch I found that I cut off earlier this year. You want to take another straight branch or trunk of tree, something like that. You want to line it up like this. Now, the log you're going to be cutting is going to act like the third leg of a tripod when using this. So it's a quick, easy, nifty way to create a nice sturdy platform to sit here and cut some wood. Like so. Great thing is, when you're done cutting this log up, or it needs to go shorter, you can always move this down, up, however you need to. Or if these were smaller in diameter and lighter, always take these with you and go on to the next campsite. Alright folks, so those experienced kind of knows what's going to happen here, but like I mentioned before, with a ferrous seam rod, all you really need is a hard 90-degree angle that's harder than the actual rod itself to affect sparks. So the hard 90-degree angle on the back of our saw right here is perfect for this. You guys see it throws sparks. Now to affect fire from a saw, so you don't have a knife or a hatchet or whatever, for whatever reason, take some fat wood. Now granted, this is commercial grade fat wood. You can buy it at the local hardware store or whatever. Just do the shaving method. You're going to see that really works well. As a way to get shavings off this fat wood to help affect the fire. Scrape this all into a nice neat pile. I like to kind of squish mine together. Take this, get some shavings in there. Lights right up. Fire from saw. Alright folks, the last tip and trick I have bushcraft wise regarding saws is if you can find a hardwood, like this seasoned maple wood, you can make a hardwood wedge. Now this will allow you to split wood, if you don't have an axe or hatchet, more efficiently by going straight down, or if it's a longer piece of wood, you can go across, like so, depending on what you're trying to do with it. Now, that being said, what you want to do is cut with the grain of wood here a nice big curve. I like to go either halfway down or 3/4 the height of my blade. Easiest way to hold it, sideways, like so. Make sure you're with the grain, right there. And begin cutting your kerf into the log. Now that deep kerf will give you a good start in splitting this log. So there's two methods I like to point out. One, let me take this, tap this in, say I don't have a hatchet, but for time's sake I'm going to use this. You need to go like this, hold it down the base, or have two, let me fix my camera here, or you have two logs or something holding the log right here while you split it, or flip it over like this, especially if it's a flat top, pound down. On that side, yep, you guys see it splitting already. Boom. Now I like holding it like this because one, again, it's more stable, especially with a flat bottom. But two, I can actually hold onto the actual log here, tap down. Now, granted, if you have a hatchet, don't really need to do this method, but say you had like a hardwood green sapling, that's what you want to make your baton out of. And you split logs all day long like this. All right, folks, so there you go. 10 different tips on how to use your saw and bushcraft-wise. I'll give you an 11th one here, guys, and this actually constitutes towards knife, axe, and saws. Always carry a nice little sharpening kit with you in the bush. It's not cumbersome. They don't weigh much, guys. And honestly, a sharper tool is way safer than a dull tool. And plus, when you take care of your tools, they'll help take care of you. So that's always a good thing. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. As always, get out there and train, get some dirt time, stay frosty, prep up. God bless.